Okay, so as you know, I did my first encounter with an angel, and I'm calling that part one because I realized after listening to it, there were several things I said that I wanted to clarify. So this is first encounter with an angel part two. One of the things I wanted to mention, my first encounter with an angel, I was 18, like 18 going on 19 years old in Las Vegas, my first apartment. And so I wanted to mention the time frame. Um, so because I have many more stories to talk about, and I think it's important to give kind of an idea of where they fit in on the timeline. So it was the late 1980s. Like I said, I was approximately 18, going on 19 years old. Another thing I mentioned about the angelic being showing up and sitting by my bed, and it appeared to me as female, beautiful female, black hair, dark eyes, beautiful smile. I knew I could feel the love coming from it. I could feel very comfortable. That's why, matter of fact, I went back to sleep. And so I wanted to address that. So when I said angels can come in any form, they can. They can come in masculine, feminine. For instance, if an angel shows up at a car accident and wants to um, intervene to protect somebody, or even at an airport to stop someone from getting on a plane, something might happen on that plane, or would show up at the hospital. They're not going to show up as in their large form because they are very large. They're much larger than we are. Large form and glowing and freak everybody out. The angel has to integrate into the population. So, like I said, it can show up as a female, it could show up as an old man, it could show up as a child, um, to bring comfort to that individual or to help that individual. It's so important for them to be able to blend in with the human race. And one of the things I wanted to also mention, imagine if I wake up, turn over in my bed, and I see a very large masculine um, figure sitting by my bed. Do you think I would have the same comfort and relaxation, even if it was emanating love and peace? I'm looking at a very large creature sitting next to my bed. I'm freaking out. But because it appeared to me in a calm, beautiful, as a beautiful female, I'm relaxed. I didn't feel any threat. So my instincts didn't kick in to try to say, oh, what the heck is going on here? Um, so that's why I wanted to clarify. I believe it showed up as a female with, like I said, beautiful smile, beautiful woman, all in white, had a glow to it, sitting by the side of my bed. I was very comforted. I felt the love, and I also had no problem just turning over and going right back to sleep. So very important fact I want to bring up. Um, so and let me see what else I want to talk about. I'm actually going to try to put some notes in effect here because I think doing it off the top of my head, sometimes I forget to say certain things, and I've got a lot more stories to go over, actual events of me interacting with angels, communicating with angels. Not only that, me actually dealing with demons and having to be harassed for decades by demons, literally spiritually harassed for decades. And I'm going to talk about so many stories about what happened to me. It's like I said, it's taken a lot of time for me to get to this point to just want to talk about it because it was that devastating and that much of a test. So let me move on and see what else I want to talk about. One of the things, like I said, I had no problem going back to sleep. And looking back, it was clear to me the angels' arrival was a way of letting me know they are there. And this would not be the last time I would see them. And I'm reading from my notes now. I just want to make sure I talk about it. At that point, I did not talk to this angel. I just want to make that clear. Later on, I would communicate with them and find out that I'm very empathic and psychic. So at that point, I just felt very loved and relaxed. Like I said, the last thing I remember is just going back to bed. But I distinctly remembered it the next day. I even spoke to my brother within a few days and brought it up. So one of the reasons I believe the angel came to me is to introduce themselves, letting them know that they were there for me and letting them know they would be a part of my life, a very important part of my life going forward. So I also believe the angel came there to me. The angel came there that night to protect me from something that was about to happen in that apartment. And this is the second part of the story. And again, sometimes I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't bring this up because it sounds like something I was involved in something that I shouldn't have been, and I actually wasn't. It was a situation that occurred, and I'm going to go on. So several days later, um, I have an argument with a few days later, I have an argument with my roommate. My roommate was also a good friend of mine. He actually got me a job at one of the Las Vegas resorts because his mom worked as a manager in the resorts. And so, for some reason, one of the days I was supposed to wake up and go to work, I overslept. I didn't go to work. I don't know what happened. I just overslept. I don't usually do that. I usually have no problem getting up in the morning, going to work. I actually was working as a lifeguard for one of the resorts, so I enjoyed going to work. I'd sit out by the pool, get a great tan, and watch all the beautiful women. And so there was no reason for me not to go to work. But for some reason, I did not get up and I slept. This was several days after, not the night of the angel. I just want to make sure, not the night I was visited by an angel. So anyway, my friend comes home from his work and knocks on my door and he goes, "Oh, why didn't you go to work?" and stuff like that. "I got a call from my mom that you didn't show up for work." So we got in an argument because I had overslept and I was a young man at the time and I handled it wrong. I argued with him, because I kind of felt like I made a mistake, but it wasn't that big of a deal, when I should have just apologized and said I was wrong for it and called his mom and apologized to her because it makes her look bad. Anyway, we got in an argument. So after the argument, I decided, you know what, I'm going to let things cool down. So I go to my parents' house, who was several miles away. They also lived in Las Vegas. And I wanted to just kind of let things quiet down and then maybe go back and talk to my roommate and clear things up. Anyway, my roommate decides he's going to have a big party at the apartment. I guess he figured since I was gone, maybe he was happy and just wanted to have a party. Maybe he did it out of spite, like, I'm going to have a big party because you argued with me and you're not invited. So anyway, apparently some people that were not invited to the party were walking by the apartment, and they thought it was a good idea to just walk in the apartment and join the party. So an argument broke out with my roommate and the people who were not invited. One of my roommate's friends got involved, okay? And so I apparently gotten an argument with one of the guys that was not invited to this party, who just walked in with some people off the street, okay? That guy who got an argument, who was my roommate's good friend, was stabbed by one of the guys who was in the group that was not invited. Now, if you know my personality, which you don't, but you'll kind of know it later on, you'll become to know it later on. I'm the type of guy who would have stood up to these people and said, "You need to get out of my home. You were not invited." So it's very likely I could have been the one who had been stabbed. Okay, so because I would have never allowed people in my home that were uninvited, that I don't know. That's just my personality. So it's very likely, instead of his friend, when my roommate got an argument, I would have joined that argument. So I was the one who could have been stabbed. Now, obviously, we don't know if that happened, but we have to think there's that potential. So anyway, my roommate's friend was badly injured and lost a kidney. And I would find out about this event from a mutual friend of ours later on. Actually, my roommate didn't even bring it up. I would get a call from a friend who we both knew, apparently was at the party, and she would tell me about it. Anyway, after that, I got a bad vibe. I just felt something was not right. And like I said, I would come to find out later in my life, I'm very empathic. I feel things. I kind of know when things are going to happen. Sometimes it just comes to me, and I've learned to go with it. When I was a younger man, sometimes I would ignore that stuff because I would think, you just don't even think about it. You don't know what's going on. In this particular case, I decided I didn't want to live in the apartment anymore, especially after the argument and the stabbing. I said, this is insane. I'm not going to live amongst that. And even if nothing ever occurred again in that apartment, I just got a bad vibe. So as far as I'm concerned, if you look at what occurred several days later, the angel visiting me, I truly believe I was being protected from that event that could have got me badly injured or even killed. In my case, we don't know. Maybe the stabbing would have killed me. Okay. Anyway, that is why I believe the angel came to me. And I can tell you that angels have come to me throughout my life, and an angel even throughout our communication later in events that would come forward in my life, even say to me that I'm under divine protection. Because they spoke to me later on, many years later, and told me that, looking back on all these stories, I realized that I truly was under divine protection. And that's why the argument happened. That's why I overslept. That's why the angel came to visit me. And that's why I was not there that night. So throughout the years, through decades, I would have many more interactions with angels. And this would be throughout my life. I would even build a friendship with several of them. And I'm going to talk about what they told me throughout the years. I will even talk about how I was under spiritual attack. let me put it this way. When you're communicating with angels and angels are paying attention to you and there to protect you, there are other forces that are aware of that. Demons and Lucifer are very aware of what is going on. Remember, these are fallen angels, so they are very aware of what's going on. They truly run this earth, okay? So these fallen ones and Lucifer were very aware that I had a connection with God's angels. So what they do next is they decide to make an example out of me and come after me. And boy, did they come after me. The story I'm about to tell you is, I mean, it's very bad. The only thing that's good about it, I would say, is that I truly have a connection with God's angels. I have complete faith. I can tell you God is 100% real. God is the creator of this earth. God is the creator of everything you see around. So those of you who are God's children, I want you to know, not only should you have faith, but understand God is absolutely real. And so as you follow my channel, it will start to make more sense as to why I'm so connected with God's angels. But always know this: I don't care what all these Luciferians tell you on television and the media and that the Hollywood people and all this bullshit. Even many of the scientists are Luciferian and lying to you. God is the creator of this earth. I can tell you 100%. And if I don't, and by the time I'm done with telling my stories, I don't know how long it's going to take, how many months, how many years it's going to take to go through everything. And I'm going to do the best I can to get through each story and tell you my encounters with God's angels, as well as my encounters with demons. You will certainly have, if you don't have faith now, you will have faith when we are done with this, when you are done with my channel and listening to my stories. Anyway, that is part 2. I hope I got that clarified. I'll probably watch this video later going, oh, I should have said that and that. So I'm going to try to, put together notes and stuff as I go along, and hopefully the videos will become a lot more smooth. I am new to this, so you're going to have a lot of patience with me because there's going to be mistakes made. It takes a little bit to get used to, speaking into a mic and doing the software and all that stuff, but I will do the best I can, and hopefully as time goes on, I'll get great at it. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and have a blessed day. Thank you.